Yeah. This insanity, such a total lack of reason, memory, and intelligence, yeah, as prevents a person from understanding the nature and consequences of his or her acts. Now, these acts of the two-count criminal complaint, yeah, that's what I'm going to the cell hearing for, right? You have said that I don't understand the nature and the consequences of your criminal complaints, right? And then there was the Swim Washington, the two-count criminal complaint where I wasn't in Swim Washington. Yeah. That I didn't understand the nature and the consequences of you arresting me. Yeah. When I wasn't in Swim Washington. Right. I didn't understand the nature and the consequences of your criminal complaint when I wasn't in Brennan, Washington. Yes. And this thought of contacting an employee that works in the same school district or another school district. Yes. About me communicating that my sons, yeah, have been taken from me since July 2nd of 2011. Yeah. Where you issued protection orders and I wasn't a resident of Washington State. Yeah. Heidi wasn't a resident. They weren't residents. Now, you don't understand the nature and the consequences of your acts. ACTS? Yes. Now, we went through the protection orders and the dissolution of marriage, and then we went through that when you arrest somebody for false allegations of crime, yeah, you have an obligation to make sure that nobody goes to court unless you have actual evidence. Yeah. Now, saying I emailed the Port Townsend School District, yeah, that's not the same school district as where my wife is employed. To say I can't email any school district about my sons being in the wrong grade, yes. About forgery and fraud, yeah. About misrepresentation of the actual facts of the case, yes. There's a threefold issue here known as your property, yes, your possessions, and what is possible for you. Now, let's say you're in prison. That limits the possibilities, doesn't it? Yes. Now, I know you dislike the thought of having to have to enforce the actual laws. You would rather do what is insane when you have the evidence I wasn't in Brennan, yes, and I've emailed you every day, yeah, that it's a crime to try somebody when you have the evidence that they were not cyber stalking, yeah, and they were not in that actual city. Oh. Then there's the insanity of taking me off the docket for 10 weeks. Yes. The insanity of canceling court hearings. And then the insanity of deciding to wait to see if I have a real sleep study on Monday because you just don't trust that what I tell you is the truth. Now, I open the door to the possibility that I might not have a sleep study, knowing the financial constraints of a free medical clinic. Yes. But I made sure to call you before I went to court. The possibility. See, you're depriving me of the possibility of having improvements in my life. Yes. Because you want to be the one to tell me what to do. When every court hearing lacked reason. Yeah. Because you wouldn't admit the evidence. Oh. Now, let's talk about the possibilities today. Your possibilities and mine. You know, I walked in to the house where I've been staying at, yeah, and I have the possibility of being homeless on Monday, as in a 3-day pay or vacate. Hmm. Now, you've deprived me of my right to property, right? Could be inheritances that I don't know about because you were paid to obstruct those rights. Yes. Could be the possessions, victims' rights and resources. Yes. And then there are lawsuits. I could get a lot of financing for all the lawsuits I've documented. Yes. Then there's a possibility of me, yes, being very, very wealthy, yes, and you not owning a fucking thing for the rest of your lives. There's a possibility of it. See, the word possibility opens up doors. Yes, it opens up doors for understanding exactly how insane it is, yes, to keep trying to get me arrested for failure to appear. Because that's what the court is doing. They're using the court system to give people the excuse to not appear in court, right? So they can issue a warrant for their arrest, so they can put them in jail and say, well, the guy's crazy. Yes. But after you do it a certain number of times where you cancel a court hearing and then you reschedule it, and then you cancel a court hearing, you reschedule it, and you take it off the docket and you put it back on the docket, it looks more and more like the possibility is that you're abusing the judicial system of the United States so as to get people arrested so that you can have them involuntarily admitted into a mental facility, yeah, where you can experiment using psychotropic medication on sane citizens because of the insanity of law enforcement. Yeah. Now, possibility, possible, that can be, can happen, etc. Yes. Now, it is possible, yes, that the court, possible, that can be, can happen, etc. Possibility, possibly, yeah. There's a very great possibility because of the conduct of those in police departments that they have knowledge of the use of the judicial system of the United States of America as being abused so as to cause people to get arrested and admitted into mental facilities because of the confusion of canceling court hearings and taking them off the docket and changing court hearings, then depriving them the right to reschedule where it accommodates their schedule. Now, I thought about it. Okay. Property, possession, and possibility. Let's say that I go to BMO on Monday and they say, well, Paul, we realize that you had bacterial pneumonia, and the truth is you have sleeping problems. You wake up every day, coughing your guts out, vomiting. Yes. But we don't have the finances. And then my thought is, well, why don't I call Seattle? Yes. I could research online. Yeah. In fact, I could do it at the library today. Hmm. I could go down to welfare and I could get on Apple Healthcare. Yes. Yes, yes. In fact, that welfare, the Medicaid for those that are indigent, homeless, why don't we look at those today? Because I'd like to know every American citizen that said, no, I want to be on welfare. Isn't that right? Medina? Ooh. Could you give me all the insurance companies? Yeah. That because of the income of those on welfare, they were provided the free health care available to every citizen that does actually qualify because of their income limits. Now I know the public defender calls me back. He says, "Well, did they reschedule the sleep here, the sleep study?" And I'm like, "Well, actually, I'm going through welfare to get that sleep study because I'm going on welfare tomorrow." Now, there are different ways that you think about handling certain problems. Yes. Does he know that I don't have any insurance? No, he doesn't know that. Does he know how I would pay for a CPAP machine? I don't think Vimeo is going to pay $2,500 to give me a breathing machine when I, as an American, have no money, pooch, have no rental assistance, pooch, going to get evicted, pooch, end up in a homeless shelter, and then I'm going to go on welfare, pooch, where they're going to inform me that I have 7.5 years of back child support. Now, there's some possibilities here. Yeah, I could end up in jail again for not paying back child support. Even though I documented, yes, that my wife has kept my sons in the wrong grade, approximately 2 grades behind those in the same age group. Yes, for 7.5 fucking years. Oh, just get me the Medicaid of every state of the United States and look through the actual income. Now I know my public defender calls me after I have the doctor's appointment. They possibly can afford the sleep study, but they can't afford a CBAP machine because that's a lot of money. But as I told the doctor when I visited with them last month, and it was probably December 7th, and I can look at my actual schedule. Yes, you can. In fact, I have a prescription that I couldn't afford to fill. Yes. Mm. And I do have another, well, it could be a boil or it could be, I can't, when you can't see your own ass, that's right. I don't know what it is. But I'm thinking, okay, I did tell the doctor if I get a prescription for a CBAP machine, yes, I'd go on welfare to be able to afford it right